Hi, I'm Ray Hager with the Reno Gazette-Journal, and welcome to an all-new edition of Nevada Newsmakers. Today's the topic is football and politics.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome back to our Power Pundit panel today. First, let me introduce Wayne Frediani, the Executive Director of Nevada Franchise Auto Dealers Association. Welcome to you. And we have Scott Craigie, Principal, All Risk Consulting. Last but not least, Mike Bosma, President of the Bosma Group. Mike, let me start with you. It's been kind of slow in the political media these days, but a lot of people have been writing stories about looking back on the administration of Governor Gibbons. He's been called anything from a bad governor to disengaged, or being praised for his fighting higher taxes. How is Governor Gibbons going to be remembered, do you feel, by the people of Nevada?
I think it's got a nice looking gun. It has no bullets in it. And I think some of the hard lines he took, did a great job for some political rhetoric, but didn't accomplish anything as far as moving an agenda forward. And unfortunately, what he's going to be remembered for is the fact that he basically had very little influence on the final budget package that was approved because it wasn't consistent. It was completely inconsistent with what he wanted, which was no new taxes.
Okay, now, Scott, do you think Governor Gibbons was perhaps a victim of circumstance, considering the economy and how it tanked during his administration?
He faced some of the toughest challenges that you can have, and in a state like Nevada is one of these states where you've got to have at least some money in the bank in order for you to get any kind of momentum going. And unfortunately, the governor at that time just he couldn't get things off the ground. He tried, and actually I sat with him on a number of occasions where he asked for some input, but he just couldn't get off the dime. And that was unfortunate, because from that point on, and of course he had that incident down in Las Vegas, that made it a lot more difficult for him to be able to get any momentum at all.
Well, Wayne, Scott mentioned the incident in Las Vegas. He was talking about the Chrissy Mazzeo thing, where he was, it was just a tumultuous type of affair. Do you think he came in with a cloud over his head when he became governor, and that might have got him off to a bad start, put him in a hole from the very get-go?
I don't know that it helped him. I think that the personal things that were reported through the media with his personal life didn't help him as governor. I think more importantly, though, in terms of his effectiveness, I think one of his negatives would have been his unwillingness to walk over to that legislative building and work with those people. To have a principle, no new taxes, that's his principle, that's what he stood on. We understood that. But to not work with leadership and not work with the legislature, I think put some serious strain on the relationship, and I think it led to his downfall.
Well, now we have a new governor, but we still have the no new taxes mantra coming from Governor-elect Sandoval. Do you think that the legislature this go-round is strong enough to maybe override any tax vetoes that Governor Sandoval might impose?
Ray, I think it's really going to boil down to what that relationship is, and I think as the governor's office works with the legislature and really kind of comes to what that legislation is going to look like, no new taxes is great, and I'm an advocate for no new taxes. I think you can fix the tax base you have rather than just create new sources of revenue. So fix what you've got, get that right first. And I just think he's a lot better versed at being able to kind of walk across the aisle, so to speak, or walk across the lawn and really have those discussions to hammer out what the best solution is going to be.
Okay, now, Scott, I want to get back to you. Is one of the positive impacts of Governor Gibbons was his education first. You played a big part in that. If you maybe talk about his legacy is dealing with education first.
Actually, he stepped out when it was really necessary for us to have that, and you're right, Ray. I worked with the education group like that, and then that ballot initiative that he and Dawn put together, and they worked very hard, and they did a really fine job. The problem was the money just wasn't there, and so in the end, I mean, Nevada is one of those situations where Nevadans won't step up and pay the bill. And that's really what I think held all of that back.
Do you think that that's one of the, Wayne, do you think it's one of the things that attracted people to Governor Gibbons, the no new taxes, and Nevada's penchant for its dislike of taxes?
Oh, I think it did. I mean, he stood for that principle, obviously, the way he responded to the legislature. I don't think anybody wants any new taxes, but I think the fact that, we've got a situation that we have right now, I think Brian Sandoval is a very bright individual, but I think there's going to be some serious challenges to the whole process, and education is going to rank right up there with everybody else. We want to diversify. You got to have an educated workforce.
Well, Mike, we've already been through 4 budget cuts here, and it seems like we're really getting to the bone in social services and education. Can Nevada stand any more cuts to its education establishment?
I think there's some, I think yes, to answer your question, I think there's some real issues with the retirement benefit programs that they have. I think they need to fix those. It's just the overall compensation package across the board. But one thing I would say is they have to fix the base rate. There's taxes that are out there to be levied really for people that aren't paying taxes, and we just need to, and particularly property taxes. I mean, because our construction's at a standstill right now, that new revenue for that new construction in property tax is gone, and every year the base depreciates another year, and so we're going to see declining revenue. Why don't we just be like every other state and just eliminate the depreciation factor?
Well, we've got a lot of things to be working on at this legislative session. It's really a new day for Nevada. That's all the time we have. We'll be right back to close out the show after these few messages.
Attention diabetics, if you've taken the diabetes drug Avandia, listen carefully.
If a member of your family has suffered a heart attack, stroke, or even died while taking Avandia, the manufacturer may be to blame. Call the attorney Greg Jones right now.
If you or a loved one have taken this drug and were injured, call us right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Recent studies show that the diabetes medication Avandia may increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, and even death. If you or someone you love have taken Avandia and were injured, call the Greg Jones Law Firm right now for a free legal consultation. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so call us right now. There's absolutely no risk on your part. You don't owe us anything unless we're successful.
For a free legal consultation, call 800-771-59...